Oh, poor Emmylou Harris. Chad Olech is a front-of-house engineer. He's worked for Linkin Park, Puddle of Mud, Survivor, Thin Lizzy, Flogging Molly, Chevelle, Anthrax, Daughtry, Deftones, Weezer, Panic at the Disco, Shinedown, Peter Frampton, Jason Bonham, Disturbed, and Fall Out Boy. Jim Runge is a co-host and co-producer of Tour Management 101. He's worked for the Black Keys, Little Dicky, Major Lazer, Imagine Dragons, Lucinda Williams, The Replacements, and Chase Rice. And today, we're going to start with, how do you two guys know each other?
I believe Tourlink, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we first met each other at Tourlink. I think obviously probably knew each other. I knew who you were, but I think we met several years ago at Tourlink. I think we kind of went a couple of years, and I think even then it was a couple of years before we met. I think we were both there and before we kind of got to talking and met each other.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think maybe just 1 year before we met, because I think we met.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we met in 19. I think. Could be wrong.
It seemed like earlier than that, but that could be.
Oh wow! Do you remember me from STP stuff?
I do. Yeah, for sure.
So long ago, you know, when you go through the years, it's so nuts.
Yeah, I mean that was 2000, right? 2000.
Either 99 or 2000. I can't remember.
No, it was 2000 because it was just after we came off Ozfest 2000 with Disturbed.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that now when you say 2000, you're talking about 20 some years ago.
It's
close to my mind. Like,
I know. I would swear I was much cooler then, but Chad can attest I was absolutely not any cooler then.
Likewise, neither was I. Yeah,
I've never been
called
cool,
that.
So it just is what it is. So
I don't think you guys picked on me from what I remember. I think all the Disturbed crew were cool.
I'm going to say, yes, that's true.
I remember, though, I wanted to be on your guys' bus because you guys would party a bit on the bus. It was more like, I guess, relaxed is the way to put it. Everybody was hanging out. And ours was like
support
serious.
Band. Well, you guys were headlining. We're a support band. There's a lot less pressure. Well, actually,
you also had somebody with some issues on your bus or in your entourage too. So
yeah, with the STP crowd, you guys had a little addiction thing there.
Yeah, that guy's name was
what they were doing, I think, on those buses probably.
Yeah, I think you're alluding to Maxie Williams, and I know.
Poor old Maxie.
We all know. It sucks, man. I pick on him so much on this thing, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. I just love it. I don't know why. It's because you like tell him like, yeah, I was saying how you're an asshole on the thing last night. And he'll be like, it's awesome. How you doing? He just doesn't care.
I actually spent
the motocross. Is he still doing the motocross thing or whatever?
I don't know if he's working it. I bet he'd be going to it even if he wasn't working it.
I think he gave that up last end of 2019, I believe.
Okay. Because last I talked to him was some get together I did in Nashville, and I think he was that's all he was doing at that point. I think for a while.
Yeah, and then I had him out, or I didn't have him out. He was already there when I got there, out on Jason Bonham.
Gotcha.
When I was out on Jason, he was out there with me, and that was fun. That's actually the first time I've physically worked with Maxie on the same team. We've been on a bunch of the same tours, but. Yeah, because
he's a smartass and stuff, but he knows his shit inside and out, and he's really great to work with because he'll handle whatever. He'll do extra. He's a great guy, man.
Yeah.
So, speaking of 20 years ago, but you know,
and I have to correct your intro a little bit. You claimed I did front of house for a bunch of artists. I didn't actually do front of house for. I did production for.
So, they're all happy about that, by the way. They're all pleased. And I looked really briefly. So the idea of Tour Management 101 is it like a nonprofit type thing, or you're just a tutorial, or?
You know, I think when this whole thing happened, Mark Clark, who's a younger, he had kind of done EDM stuff, but maybe been touring, 8-10 years, had decided he kind of wanted to do something. It was probably a couple weeks or a month into the lockdown. And he had kind of put on Bobnet sayings at first I think he wanted to do it through Bobnet. And he just kind of said, I'd like to do something to give back and kind of teach people who wanted to come up in the industry what to do. And then I think Henry Bordeaux jumped in and said, and Mark had kind of been a mentee of mine, and we'd known each other for a few years and had met a couple of times. And so I, right away I felt like, well, I felt kind of responsible. I'm like, well, yeah, whatever you need to do, I'll help you with it. And then I think Henry Bordeaux jumped in. Oh, and I know it was Doug Wilson, who's a Canadian tour manager, had already kind of had the idea too, and was thinking about doing something like that too. So him and Mark hadn't met, but they kind of combined efforts a little bit. Henry and I kind of offered our services. I think we started doing it. And I think the day we did it, we were like, guys, we need some diversity on this. It's not all about white guys doing this, tour managing anymore. And we brought in Adrian Biondo and Mary Jo, and not Mary Jo Spillane, but Mary Jo Kotska into it. And then Dave Norman, 5'1", did one of our first episodes and never left. So we brought him in. So it's been the 7 of us, pretty solid.
Cool.
Since it, and the whole process has been, we don't want to make money from it. We feel honored that we are where we are in the industry and
sure
where we've gotten, and we just want to give back. So we've done it, but now we're to the point now where it's been pretty successful. We're trying to figure out now, how does it work when now that we're working? Because for a while we did it twice a week, which we do 90 minutes to 2 hours show, and then a 90-minute to 2-hour planning session every week. So it was an 8-hour-a-week gig that we were doing for the first year.
Yeah.
And eventually we broke it down to once a week. And now we're, a lot of us are working. Like the last one we did, there were 3 of the 7 that could do it. Everybody else was working. So
that's not a bad thing, though. That's a good thing.
No.
They're back at it. Yeah.
It's great. So now we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do with where we are. We're kind of to the point where we're looking maybe to hire a webmaster and do that kind of stuff. So at least we can just come in, book the shows, do the shows.
If you need if you're looking for a meme master, Chad here is very, very good at that.
He's well known as the meme master.
He's got it down.
How many sites of memes do you have now, Chad?
Well, I mean, Facebook banned my original page.
Okay. I keep flagging everything, so I'm glad it worked.
Thank God.
I think I just got a new like the 3rd or 4th, I think.
Number 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I keep a main and a backup kind of at all times, and Facebook deleted my main because they didn't like one of my jokes. So to be honest, I can send it to you later. It was so innocuous and mild. I don't understand why I got banned, but whatever. It's their platform.
Mom she was in Ethiopia. And so my mom's this little itty bitty English old lady. I shouldn't say old. She'll be mad, but she's old. So she's in Ethiopia, and she took a picture with some native people there that don't have any tops on, and Facebook flagged her for nudity. And my mom was having the hardest time understanding what was going on. So I need to write to them about National Geographic. I'm like, there's nobody to write to, Mom. They don't care.
And that's it. I mean, whatever. It's their platform. They own it. It's a private network. They can do what they want.
Wow, you're easygoing.
Well, I mean, I would feel the same if I owned it. Like it's mine. It's mine. I'll do what I want with it. But having said that,
me, I can't add any more people to the Party of Rockstar group or whatever because
really?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to. In like a week and a half, I'm allowed to again. But I figure the name group means people want to join your thingamabob, right? So if you have more people adding, the problem therein lies where exactly? I don't know.
That's the other thing too, is if you're an individual, you're limited, but if you're an entity, you're not.
Does that mean you pay to be an entity, I presume?
I don't think, no, you do, because I think if you're a band or something, you can have, it's just a little different. But I think anybody can put themselves as being like a personality, and they can have as many as they want. But if you're just a normal person, you get stopped at 5,000.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a normal person. I feel like stopping at 2,000, but
I made it to 5,000. I was like, I'm just gonna make it to 5,000. Now I'm like, now I know too many people, and I really wish I had a lot less friends. So
the problem is people like Chad who keep making different Facebooks now. So I've got like 18 Chads on my Facebook.
I got
that's
two.
the
I
thing.
got two.
I have all these
Taking all the
friends
space.
with multiple names and personalities. Yeah.
Sending me memes about skunks on Noah's Ark or some crap.
I got a good one about dinosaurs later.
Oh, I'm anxiously waiting. It'll be good. So, what got you guys into the industry? I'm assuming here when I met you, Chad, you were pretty new to it all.
Yeah, that would have been the. It was the end of '99 actually. No, it was the end of 2000. So I'd been in about a year. At that point, I had done.
You smiled so much more back then.
So much younger. Yeah. Not nearly as angry and jaded.
You were still bald, I think.
I was. I've been bald since like. I don't know.
Bald.
Actually, crap. I think I was bald too.
Yeah, I've been bald since '91 or something. So yeah.
Yeah. I used to shave my head because it wasn't growing so good.
Yeah,
I guess I'm still shaving my head because it doesn't grow so good. All right. Anyway, back to you.
But yeah, so I had done Orange 9mm. Was my first tour in '99, the summer of '99, and then I went on to a couple of other acts, and then I got picked up by this band called the Deadlights to do Ozfest 2000. Well, a little before that, to do a tour up into Ozfest and do Ozfest, which is where I met the Disturbed guys because we would hang out pretty much every day. Our buses were parked side by side at the second stage, and we'd hang out every day, and got a job offer from them and went with them and saw you guys on that very next. We did a real short headlining run, and then we did that SDP Godsmack tour.
Yeah. Do you remember when we made your laminates? Well, Charlie made them. I didn't make them, but they made pink.
I don't. But that doesn't surprise me that both I wouldn't remember it and that Charlie would do that to us.
So it was like this testosterone-driven tour, Jim. It was Godsmack, Disturbed, Static X.
No, Godsmack, Disturbed, STP, and Liquid Gang.
Oh yeah, I remember Liquid Gang. I actually put their song on Spotify. What happened to those guys?
I think they just didn't find enough success and finally broke up. I'm guessing. I really don't know.
They were good.
Yeah,
I thought they were. Well, yeah, I put one of the songs on Spotify, but we did shows with Static, so it's like testosterone stuff. And so Charlie made the laminates for Disturbed pink. It was great. Anyway, we thought it was great.
Yeah. I bet we probably didn't give a shit.
Bet who didn't give a shit?
I bet we didn't.
I don't know. I kind of remember David laughing.
Oh well, I mean, I'm talking about the crew. I don't the artists. Yeah.
Oh well, I wasn't really caring about the crew. We didn't really give it. Anyway, on to more important stuff. Jim, how did you get going in this industry?
Kind of by accident, like most of us do. I worked in I was in punk bands when I was a kid, and the only way that we could do shows was to put on our own shows. And
what did you play in the punk band?
I screamed.
Nice.
Early 80s or late 80s, early 80s, or no, mid 80s, early 80s hardcore band. And we were in that, and I kind of wanted to do that and didn't know what else to do. And then
what was the name of your hardcore band?
No Response.
Nice. That's a good punk band name.
And that didn't work out. And then I kind of did a bunch of stuff, but I always stayed in. I promoted shows for a while, punk shows for a while, like Social Distortion, stuff like that in the late 80s. Owned a record store. And then a friend of mine had done lighting in Green Bay where I grew up. And he needed help a summer, and I just kind of really liked it. And then I moved to Minneapolis after that year, and met Pat Whalen, who's now living in LA and a production guy, tour managed Devo, and has done a few other things. Owned a company in Minneapolis, and I went to him, and I was going to move to San Francisco at the time, and just decided, I need a career. I'm that age. I'm gonna do this as a career. And then from there, I did sales and some odd things. Long story, I sent a fax out to this small management company that was doing sales and said, hey, I know you can't afford a big lighting package, but you're doing small clubs, but if you ever need a small lighting package, I'll help you out, won't charge you anything for it. Went home after sending 1,000, texts or 1,000 faxes that day. Got to call it
facts, Chad. It's sort of like a meme with words instead of pictures.
Yeah, every time I tell this story, I have to tell everybody what a fax is. So I'm hoping I don't have to do that.
I think I'm actually older than Jim, so.
But you look so good.
Yeah, you look so old. And I basically, the guy called me and had to remind me what I said because I didn't remember sending the fax. Had to remind me what I said, and said it happened to go to this small little alt country act out of Texas. And he said, you want to be our lighting guy. And Eric Frankhauser, who now is Wilco's tour manager, was my tour manager on that. And he kind of showed me the way of the road. I did a couple tours with lighting, and he got a gig with the Eels, and they needed somebody to kind of tour manage the act that we'd been touring with. And I said, I'll do it. And kind of went from there. I just went like little tours, van tours, did hundreds of thousands of miles in vans and trailers, and eventually, got to bus and trailers and just kept growing from there.
Oh, you served your time.
Yeah, I've been doing, I think I'm almost at 30 years. So
okay.
I started touring in the mid 90s and got into production early 90s. So, yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things. So the fax thing wasn't an age thing; it was an intelligence thing. Just to put that out there, Chet. But
see, I wasn't smart enough to get that.
I'm trying to help you along. I'm trying to be a buddy. I've known you a long time. The second one, did you opened a record store? You worked in a record store?
I owned a record store and a skate shop in my hometown because I felt like
that is so cool. You breezed past it. That is cool shit.
It didn't do very well, so it's not something. Because here's the deal: because I was young, didn't really have much money, so I did it. I found it independent. So all I sold was independent and import records, which in a place like Green Bay nobody wants. Nobody wants them anyway, but especially in a town that is ensconced in football and in sports.
Yeah,
they don't want the latest Tones on Tail import record. And I didn't have anything that anybody else wanted. So nobody, my friends owned used record stores, so I didn't want to get into used records because I didn't want to compete with them because I was a nice guy. So I just sold stuff that nobody wanted. So yeah,
I lost. I'm not the record, actually. I'm younger. So I'm the end of tapes into CDs was me. And I loved going to these kind of places and checking stuff out and seeing what I could get my grubby little hands on. In LA, we had a place called The Warehouse. And in the beginnings, they didn't have a computer system. So when you brought in your used CDs, it was the price on it was whatever the person behind the desk put on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man, you'd get just the greatest stuff because they didn't know who.
Yeah, if they didn't know what it was, they just put hardly nothing on it. And
$1.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It was this treasure hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got computerized. Once it was computerized, then everything changed. And then everything, unfortunately, went under. But now that record store, your inventory stuff would be amazing on eBay because it's so.
Yeah.
I'm a big collector of Raymond Pettibone.
Nice.
He did the Black Flag album cover.
Yeah.
So I love the fella. And well, I don't love the fella. I like his music very much. Or I like his I don't know about his music. He does do music too. I don't know how much I like him.
I don't think it's that good, but
it's not my thing to be respectful about it. But yeah, his
SST world was like great and awful. There was not a whole lot of in between in that whole world. Yeah.
I love all the art stuff though. All the punk flyers and it's all, the Social D had killer punk stuff in the beginning. They had great artwork on some of their flyers. Pettibone actually did one flyer for them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's rare. It's hard to get.
Stuck with the SST stuff, but
yeah. I called one time and this guy named Greg answers the phone and I'm talking to him about Pettibone stuff. He goes, well, he didn't. They used to sell them at the shows. It was his zines. He makes things like comic book things. I have a massive collection of them. And I'm like, no. And I'm correcting. Well, the Greg was fucking Greg Ginn. I didn't know that.
He ran the store.
I'm like being a cool guy on the phone. I'm all tough or whatever. He's the guy who called me back. And I'm telling him. He
couldn't get anybody else to work for him. So that was
maybe. I moved everything to Arizona. He's like, well, we might have some stuff in the in storage. I'm like, well, if you want to spend the time to, tell the boss to go find it, I might buy some of it. And he's like, yeah, we'll be right on top of that.
Yeah.
Well, freaking guy. I didn't know who he was. I don't know. Anyway, it was funny because when I did my book, I talk about Disturbed and whatnot. And do you remember we had where there was 2 Grim Reapers, and we'd sit him on stage and then we'd fry him in a electric chair. I couldn't find any footage or anything of that like anywhere. It's like been erased from history or something.
I might have a still photo or 2 of it in old.
Because one of those Grim Reapers
photograph book.
One of them's me. I did it every night. And I was just trying to find fun stuff, and I couldn't find anything. It was nutty to me.
Well, it's amazing now how everything is on a photo of it. And it's amazing how often we go back. Like my parents don't have any photos of me. There was years of Super 8, so they have all these now that they can't get made into anything else. So basically now there's all this Super 8 of me when I was a kid. There's no photos or anything because that's what it was. Yeah. But now it's like that with, like there's all this stuff basically because we had photos and everybody's lost the negatives in the photos and none of that stuff exists anymore. Where now we got hard drives full of,
so much stuff,
everything,
So is it nutty to watch yourself as a baby, like in a video?
I don't know because my parents haven't been able to make it into something we can watch.
That'd be neat. I don't know. I don't have anything like that. I can't imagine watching myself like crawling around going, holy crap, that's me. Like 1 foot long.
But you think of like my daughter, who's 12, like watching herself on video is like a normal thing because we all had camera phones and everything by the time she was born.
Their whole lives are on film.
Yeah.
It's crazy now. But the thing I was going to do an interview for the book I was born in Cambridge, England. And so when you're trying to promote something, you just hit up every avenue you can think of, I guess. And one of them was, well, let's do one from where I was born. I can't imagine Cambridge has too much stuff coming down the pipeline. Not to knock Cambridge, but so I reached out. He goes, well, can you send us photos of you with band guys? And I'm kind of like, so I sent him one photo, which is me and the STP guys in full drag because it was a Halloween show that we did in
Alabama.
Or was it? I thought it was in Texas. I don't know.
Oh, actually, you're right. It was in San Antonio.
San Antonio. So I sent him that, and I never heard back. Like nobody responded at all. It was just everything went quiet, and I was like, "Well, okay, I understand though." Although I thought we were all good-looking ladies.
No, I've got some of those pictures, and no, you weren't.
I believe you. Yeah, I believe. I actually wasn't dressed in drag. The band was. I had an STP Bitch shirt on. Do you remember those? Yep. Rigger Dan made the STP Bitch shirts, and
I do. Rigger Dan, love that guy.
Yeah, I've brought him up a few times. His mom's watching on occasion, so you
nice. Yeah, he was a good dude. Jim, did you ever work with Dan Beard?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
He was,
bigger with coffee in one hand and a cigarette in the other. Always.
You still see his stickers occasionally.
Rig hard, and I don't have one. I would love to get my hands on one.
Yeah, you'd have to print it up. There's no way there's any of those rig hard stickers not stuck on something already.
Yeah, I just moved a friend of mine. You ever work with Carrie Charbonneau? She was Dave Matthews for a long, long time. And then she did prints. And so I just moved her. She across the country. I was helping her pack everything. And I found this box of bumper stickers. And I'm like, yes. And there wasn't a rig hard one in there. I would have been super excited about it.
But yeah, so Dan was a rigger back in the early 2000s who passed away probably about 05, 06. Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, 04, 05, something.
05, yeah. But super, super nice guy. Great rigger. Great, just like a great person, great human.
Yeah, he was a cool cat. He was a neat guy for sure. He was a lot of fun, very eccentric.
Yes.
And he was a good character. I don't know. I'd say typical roadie, but that's in like the highest regard. Yeah.
Yes, but typical in the like the 80s kind of way where like full on cowboy. Like slide down a chain from the ceiling rather than take a ladder, that sort of thing.
Yeah, while like singing.
Not necessarily what nowadays would be considered OSHA friendly. But
it's funny. I took him to a party, so I'm I don't know, 23, 24 years old. Dan's probably he's probably only 30, 35, something like that. I think he was think he was that when he died. So about 30. So I took him to this party at this college, and he's trying to, so, hey, I work for AC/DC. I hang the bell. And no one there knew who AC/DC was. And it was interesting to see this guy so very far removed from his element.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to say. So he just kind of sat there. And then I remember the girl picked up a guitar and started playing. I mean, whoa, like worse than Pettibone's band. I mean, wow. And Dan just looked at me and I was sort of like, noted. And we left and we went to Denny's and we drove all the way, but we drove from Santa Barbara back to LA. And then it was another time I was on a date with this girl. It was a first date. And Dan is in his new Jag and he's at the light. And I look over, he's honking at me and he's all, Rifkin, get in the car now. So I grabbed the girl. We got to get in the car. She goes, who are these people? Who is this guy? Just get in the car. So we get in the car with this girl and Dan just goes full on, hey, so where are you from? What's your deal? Blah, 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 blah. And he's just taking my girl away, basically. She was a good looking girl. And she needed to get to like Best Buy before it closed. So the whole date became getting this girl to Best Buy because she needs to make it to yoga on time. And that opened this whole door of shit. So the door was, how could you be this stressed about getting to your yoga on time to de-stress? And you need to figure this out. And he wouldn't let it go. And it was very, very funny. By the time the girl got out of the car, there was literally no chance she would ever call me again. I was very well aware of it, but it was great to see this guy in his full element of, it's true. How could you be so stressed about going something that's meant to calm you down? Wouldn't you want to prepare your calmness? It's like drinking 15 glasses of coffee on your way to a meditation course. I don't know. Nah. So, you guys have done a lot of tours now for real. And what was the longest period of time you had been home before the pandemic stuff?
For me, the whole year and a half or 2 years before the pandemic, I was pretty much on retainer with an artist for most of that, for most of like 18 and then into 19 a little bit. And then I did a couple, I did Shinedown in 19 and did Peter Frampton and Jason Bonham in 19. And then in 2020, I just started back up with Fall Out Boy, getting ready for the Hella Mega Tour over the summer with Green Day and Weezer. I had Thomas O'Keefe on here. I haven't released it yet. Thomas is great. Yeah.
Dude. Have you heard of Antiseen, Jim?
Yeah, I remember them.
Dude, I did my research for like 3 straight days. They were great. The 20
I remember them when back in the day for sure.
I asked a lot of punk buddies because I was going to try and give Thomas a hard time. And none of the guys here on the West Coast had heard of the Antiseen. I don't know.
I think I kind of think like they weren't, I think they were labeled more like that merge thing, like, not quite hardcore, more like college rock type thing. I think that's my kind of feeling on it. I'm not sure. That's just my guess.
I loved it. I listened to so much of it. I thought they were so good. I was really enjoying it. And then he's such a character, man. He was really fun. I brought G.G. Allen to a Christmas party. What the fuck would you do that for? I don't know how to hear the rest of the story. I know it went bad. He goes, it went great. Let me tell you what happened. He was very fun. He's a neat guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He was, when I was out, I was doing production for Weezer and Panic at the Disco. I was kind of it was a co-headlining tour for them. And I was kind of I like to call myself the referee on that one. I was the guy hired by both artists to kind of keep things split fairly fair down the middle. So that was my experience. That was when I met Thomas and had a great summer with him out there on that. And him and Tony Marino doing Panic was a great combination for the summer. And then last summer we were supposed to be out, all summer doing that Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer tour. And that kind of came to a crashing halt. And in theory, allegedly, we're gonna fire it up back again this summer and send it out.
Yeah. We had Thomas on TM 101. He joined us for, I don't remember what the subject was, but he joined us for that.
So I was talking earlier today to Paul Schroeder and Norb Rozek.
What?
See, there you go. I knew I'd get Jim to wake up. You see that? He got all excited.
Wow.
I know. I was trying to surprise you. I was going to bring him on, but they didn't want to talk to you. But they told me to say hi.
I just saw them both on Sunday, actually, because Paul lives about 3 hours north of Green Bay, and he came down for the weekend. I can't remember if it was his birthday or he just came down for the heck of it. Saw him Saturday and Sunday. And Norb is my oldest friend. We were in punk bands together, and our bands played together since we were like 17. So,
were you into punk, Chad, or did you have your really?
I was a metal kid.
Look at him. Of course he wasn't.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him. You're a metal, and it shows.
I was hair metal at first, and then expanded as I got older.
Really, what hair metal bands was like your? What was your first record?
The first record.
I swore I was never going to ask anybody that. By the way,
that's all good. The first record that I got, like the first adult record that wasn't like like whatever Snoopy or whatever, was Kiss Alive 2.
Okay,
was my first record. The first record I personally bought was Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz.
Oh hell yeah! I can see where you went down that road. That was cool.
Yeah, so I got into that, and then Motley and White Snake and that kind of genre, Rat and all that stuff, and then moved on from there into like the Megadeths and Anthraxes and that sort of thing.
I think Motley Crue announced today, right? They're going to postpone their tour. I think that was today.
Not surprised.
Yeah. It's a bummer though. To me, it ain't funny. Haha. It's not funny at all. I mean, if that's your livelihood and you can't do it anymore, that sucks. That's scary. That's bad.
I agree, but hopefully they've been why. I mean, they had to have earned a gajillion dollars over the years. And I know that a lot of it went up the nose, but hopefully they had a wise business manager that thought about the future and protected this sort of thing. So if it did happen,
I would think like safe. Mick Mars was quiet. I can't imagine him blowing crazy amount of money on stupid shit. So, all right. So back to Chad's first record here. I got a big question for you guys. Yeah. So do you think that Goofy was his real name, or do you think Goofy is a nickname?
I assume you mean from Disney.
That's right. We're getting quick.
I would say that's a nickname.
That is a nickname. His real name was George Geef. Isn't that good?
There you go.
I just wanted you to go to sleep learning something today.
Well,
probably nightmares about that now. Yeah.
I can delete that out of my phone now. That's a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I got really into punk. I was really into folk music. And I don't know if you remember, but I was really into Nanci Griffith, this folk singer lady I thought was amazing. I still do. I think she's great.
Dates with Nanci Griffith, and she had two personalities. She had the personality when she played, and it was that high-pitched kind of voice that she had. And then which only was her performing, and when she wasn't performing, she was
rough.
Yeah.
This song's called person. Five and Dime. It's about the lift.
You guys know who Phil Kaufman is, right?
I do, yeah.
The legendary tour, like the guy who burned Graham Parsons' body. He actually tour managed Nanci for a while, and it was after he did because he was Emmylou Harris's tour manager for 30 plus years, and he did Nanci for a while, and it was I got to do a couple shows with them when I was in my early tour management days. And it was interesting seeing Nanci Griffith with Phil Kaufman, who was a bigger personality. I mean, I used to do Emmylou Harris shows, and all the roadies would be in the corner talking to Phil, and Emmylou would be by herself in the corner. No one would talk to her. So
I would have talked to her. I think she's gorgeous.
I did talk to her, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, everybody else, all the local stagehands were all like wanting to hear stories about Phil and his life in the Rolling Stones and all that stuff. And
yeah, the fun, good stuff.
Emmy just sat in the corner by herself going, Phil gets all the attention.
Oh, poor Emmylou Harris. What was it? Red Dirt Girl? Wasn't that album?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What a good one. I just picture Nanci now singing these beautiful love songs and then getting up to stage like, where the fuck is Jim? The little bitch.
That's pretty much how it was. Yeah.
Motherfucker, who hired this guy?
Yeah, she had some anger issues.
I like it. I wouldn't mess with her. I don't know. She's from Texas, dude. Texas throws down.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear you had a bad experience with Miss Nanci Griffith. She happens to be my favorite.
It wasn't necessarily a bad one. I didn't have to deal with it that much, but it was interesting seeing, how it is. There's always those artists that have different personalities on stage in public than they do in private,
We've probably all worked for them.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't tour as long as most of the people on here, so I didn't have any crazy stuff. Axl's tough. He fired me. I came back the next day and nobody knew. And it was like, that's par for the course of, the industry. But I didn't really have anybody who was just an out and out dickhead to me. I got in an argument with Kevin Dubrow. I didn't really like him. And then actually got in an argument with some of the Green Day guy, the drummer. But
Trey
Cool.
Yeah, Trey Cool. But I'm sure I'll live through it. Yeah. In my book, I kind of talk some shit about Green Day, and then people, they were doing these interviews and they say, so, well, what the fuck? I'm like, well, you got to have a bad guy. And so I just picked the punk band. Trust me, there's nothing really sincere about it. Everything's okay here. They'd be like, oh, okay. So you don't really hate Green Day? No, I don't really hate. I'm sorry to break it to you. There's no real issues. American Idiot was a pretty fucking good song.
I'll even give you that. Yeah.
Dude, Glenn Campbell covered it. How cool is that? Put that in your repertoire. That's amazing.
I got to see Glenn Campbell on that at the Troubadour on that last tour he did before.
Oh, no kidding.
That's super neat. My friend married
with all those covers on it. It was religious. It was one of the best things I've ever seen.
That's
he's amazing. Yeah, my friend married his son.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're in. He's trying to do. His name's Dylan, and he's trying to get going in the music stuff. Or maybe he has been a bit. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it was cool. Did you hear the song his daughter wrote about him after he passed away?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard that.
Wow.
I'll have to look it up.
You really need to. Wow, what a beautiful song.
The stuff that he did, that last video he did.
The last video is like that Johnny Cash Hurt video.
Yeah. But real in the sense that it's about having Alzheimer's and kind of losing his mind. And he is in the video, he is obviously losing his mind. Like I'm not going to remember you. And that's okay.
Yeah. It's exactly. Okay. I mean, you want to talk about writing ability, and then the daughter's song is, thank you, daddy, basically. Yeah. And I'm still your little girl type thing.
Yeah, I think the last time I seen him as a Troubadour, I think most of his band was his kids, if I'm not mistaken.
No kidding.
That was they were saying that most of the band were, or at least like it was a pretty big band, because I think they had to, he was such a great guitar player. I mean, he was known as a guitar player. He wasn't known as he was a studio guy. He played in the Beach Boys, and so his beginning wasn't like as a songwriter, but he so having to, play those instruments, you could tell he was struggling. And so he had like a bigger band to kind of cover him a little bit, because he was the guitar player in Nashville for so many years,
Yeah. I don't remember if you guys were out with us, but he came to one of the shows at the Universal Amphitheater and he played with STP.
I must have been there because we did the Universal show.
So that was the last show of the
it was the last show of the tour. That's where I got.
Glenn Campbell was there, and I didn't know who he was. And I remember the guys like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And they meant it. There was sincerity behind it, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. And then I started listening to his music. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? This guy's amazing. How could I have not listened to this? It's still those things. That's why I love the idea of owning a record store. It's still those feelings of listening to anything for the first time and going, oh my God, this is great. I can listen to it again too if I want. I love it.
That Universal show, I actually yelled at Sylvester Stallone by accident.
So I used to have his laminate from the show because he left.
Really?
Yeah, he left it in the office. It said Sly, and then we must have had dates after that because McGee. Remember McGee?
There was one show after that, or maybe.
So McGee used his laminate because McGee had lost his laminate and he couldn't find his own, so he used Sylvester Stallone's laminate. But
that's funny.
Yeah, he was a dickhead. I heard. I didn't see him during.
Actually, it turned out. I mean, he ended up being very. It was a bit of a misunderstanding. He parked his Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever the hell thing it was, nose up to my bus. So we were planning on getting out, and I was like, "Dude," and I don't know who he is.
Did you mistake it for being your Ferrari / Lamborghini Maserati?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just walked out. I was like, dude,
you're next to my Fiat, sir.
My Yugo, you're blocking my Yugo.
Have you seen pictures of his daughters?
No.
Stunning. You should have been nicer to Sylvester Stallone, Chad. Anyway, okay, so he parked next to.
So he parked right in front, so we'd never be able to pull out. And I was outside, and I was like, and I wasn't like super dick, but I was a little harsh. I was like, dude, you can't fucking park there. And
scared me.
He's a littleish kind of guy. He's not real big. And I mean, he's, fairly jacked, but he's not tall. And he's like, sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. I thought I could park here. I was like, oh,
sorry,
mind,
Rocky.
Mr. Stallone. Never mind, Mr. Stallone. You're fine to park there. I stuck my foot all the way up my own ass and, backpedaled as hard as I could.
Love it. Yeah, I remember he didn't stay for the whole gig.
No, he was gone. He was definitely gone before you guys were done.
Well, because Chad yelled at him because he had to move his car.
Well, he was hurt. He brought a chick, I remember. I think he was trying to impress her, and then Chad's like, "Hey, get your shitty ass car out of here, Rocky."
Yeah, blew it for everybody.
Yeah. God damn it! I'm such an asshole.
I have Mr. T's boxing trunks from Rocky.
No shit.
Yeah, cool, right?
That is fairly cool.
Pain. He was scary.
Nice. Yeah. Good movie.
Great movie. I love the Rocky stuff. I love Sylvester Stallone. Some of these guys don't really stand up. Some of them do. Sylvester Stallone movies are fun, man. Even like Over the Top and Cliffhanger. They're fun to watch.
Mean, you might be stretching.
I'm not a fan, but I love that. What was that one of the last movies he did was with all the old action guys.
Yeah.
The Replaceables.
Yeah,
I think
that's what it was. Yeah, that I thought was a great
Something
movie.
like that.
Not a huge.
They're just fun. I mean, you didn't like Over the Top. Over the Top is hilarious.
I mean, you might as well just say Stop or my mom will shoot. I mean,
if you're a film junkie, forget it.
I'm an indie film guy, so I'm like kind of a snob when it comes to movies. So I was never and I hate to say it, but Rambo just as a teenager drove me crazy. Like the whole message, the Reagan, thing was like drove me over the top. So I that was almost unforgivable for me. Like those Rambo movies.
So you would have told Fern to get his fucking Ferrari out of the driveway too.
During that time, I would have probably burned his car down.
So I had his toilet in my house. So he had the biggest house in Bel Air. He didn't own it anymore. And because he lost it. And I think he owned it actually like 3 separate times. He bought it, sold it. But this house was really cool. And MTV Cribs had rented it. And someone lit a fire in the theater on a candle. They lit a candle on fire. I don't know. They lit a candle and they caught the damn house on fire. So I went up there because they were just getting rid of toilets and they were total nice toilets. I didn't know it was Sylvester Stallone's house. So I drive up the back entrance, which is this, mile long driveway type thing. And you get to the top and half the house is falling in and there's water dripping. And I'm walking through it going like, this is cool. And like, so which toilet do you want? I want the one that came from the master bedroom. Like the master, I want the one that slides shit in on a regular basis. And they're like, okay. So we pulled it out of the master and I'm like, I brought it home and my girlfriend, she's like, that is dirty because it's all fucked up from the fire. You've got black soot all over it. I'm like, this is sly shitter, honey. And we're putting it in the house. And so I put it in the house. And the truth is it never worked that good. It would run sometimes. There was issues here and there. But I thought it was great because I do a lot of memorabilia and they're like, what do you have? I'm like, I got Sly's toilet if you want to check it out.
That's crazy.
Kind of fun. I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was good. But if you remember, I mean, I never collected crap on tour. I don't remember you grabbing guitar picks every 5 seconds either. So
usually I'll do a tour poster at some point during the tour. I'll grab a poster, like an actual, event poster and get the guys to sign it. Whoever it is that I'm working for. So I've got
fun.
Like the room I'm in right now over my shoulder here, you can see that that one's a Deftones poster from one of the tours I did and got the guys to sign. And there's it's hard to tell looking backwards, but I think that's one of those two is an Alice in Chains. And I think the other one's a Daughtry. But yeah, so it's just, I'll grab like one a tour.
Daughtry didn't mean as much to you because you're like, I think it's Daughtry, whatever.
It's Daughtry.
Okay, good.
It's Daughtry from the Ryman.
Nice.
So I try and do that sort of thing like once a run. I'll grab something like that and frame it and put it down here.
Yeah. So would you open up a record store again now that you understand success, Jim?
In theory, I would like to, but I don't know. No, because I'm one of those guys, like, I want everybody to buy what I like. I'm one of those guys, like, I don't want to sell people shitty music, so I wouldn't make any money at it, because I'd be like, no, you don't want that, you want this, and no, they really want that.
You'd be the soup Nazi of record stores.
Yeah, no, and I was. I mean, that's what my record stores were. I bought everything that I liked and I thought was cool, but I was the only person in a town of 100,000 people who liked that record, and I was trying to find that one person to sell it to, and so I'd either end up keeping it or playing it myself, and that's not a good way to run a business. So yeah.
How long did you do it for?
3 years, I think. I had two different
long time.
It's like a few years. I had a partner for a while. We had a skate shop, and then at the end, I stuck to records and got rid of the skate stuff. But we kind of did both.
So I used to go garage selling a lot, and I loved it. It was fun. It's like modern day treasure hunting. And back to tangible stuff. Sorry, but I sell it all. I used to sell a lot on eBay and whatnot. And I was at this garage sale, and this dude busts out this Black Flag, actually signed. It was signed by everybody in the band with Rollins, and it was a Raymond Pettibone skateboard. So he's like, yeah. So it's kind of neat. And so, cause he asked me, so what do you collect? He's like, you just missed my punk record collection. I'm thinking like, oh God, what a bummer. He goes, yeah, some guy bought every record. And I'm like, I bet he did. Yeah. So I'm like, I like some guy named Raymond Pettibone. You would have never heard of him. And the guy's like, I just told you, I just sold my punk collection. I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, you did. So he takes out the skateboard and he shows me, and he's like, he wants $100 for it, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's like beat up. I never skated really. So I was like, oh, okay. So I left. So I talked to an art dealer, bud, and he's like, are you out of your mind, man? He goes, it's not the Rolling Stones. It's not like they made thousands of them. He's like, the board's worth bank. So I quickly drive back to the guy. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll give you the $100 for it. He goes, yeah. He's like, I'm only getting rid of it because of my wife. So I made him a deal. I told him, he's like, let me tell you first. I want to tell you how I got it. And he's like, so he tells me this story, how he had to wait all night for them to come out of the venue and sign it. And Rollins took forever. And he finally came out. He goes, I was 15 years old and he signed the board. And man, I was grounded for like a month, but I didn't give a shit. I just stared at my skateboard thinking like, dude, that was totally worth it.
How could you get rid of that with that?
His wife hated it. So I told him, I'm like, I'll tell you what, I am a dealer. I sell a lot of stuff, but I will keep this. And if I get rid of Pettibone stuff, it will be the last Pettibone thing I get rid of, because I love the story behind it. And I think it's really cool. And I got his email and I have it. Yeah, I still have it. But I sold my punk flyer collection, and I did it because I got a lot of money, I guess is the truth. But the second part of it, I'll be honest, but the second part of it is it's not that hard to like get an old printer and make them. And I got like $20,000 for all the punk flyers. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I had really neat stuff like the Social D one. Okay, we'll go find it first to make a copy of. So I had a lot of ones that you're not going to find to be able to copy. Yeah. So, but I sold them.
And you did copy them all so you can sell them again, right?
Right. I sell them to Disturbed crew members.
I don't work for them anymore, so I guess I'm not going to buy.
You know what I do remember from you guys? You gave me a beanie, which I think I told you about when I reconnected with you. I had this Disturbed beanie. I loved it. And I wore it everywhere I went. And I went to, we're talking 15 years later, I still wear my Disturbed beanie. And I lost it when I was walking around my mom in Paris. And I spent all afternoon trying to find it, hoping nobody had picked it up. Well, we're on vacation for a few days. I'm spending the time finding a beanie. And and I remember you guys gave me a CD, and I thought that was so cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's really nice, you guys, man. I loved it.
They were a good group. I mean, I still talk to David once in a while.
Nice guy. He was
a great guy. Yeah. I got a lot. I talked to him. I talk to Danny once in a while through Facebook. The crew guys, I still talk to Neil.
Sure.
I still talk to Kurt Schneck and Brad Stoner, the drum tech.
Yep.
Trying to think who else is on that crew. I don't remember the lighting guy's name, but I haven't seen him since that tour.
Who do you talk to still from your first tours, Jim?
A few years ago, I ran. I mean, as far as the people involved, the artist, I haven't seen in a couple of years. We did I keep in touch with his wife on Facebook. He's in his 70s now or something, but his wife and I talk every once in a while. But Eric Frankhauser, who was my tour manager, who I hired to do Wilco, and I hired to do Lucinda Williams after I left, and he's like one of my best friends. We still talk all the time and see each other all the time. And a lot of the bass player, the guitar player, I haven't heard for years, but I'm friends with all of them on Facebook, and we talk probably, once or twice a year. So yeah, in fact, most of my tours, I think I do. There's not many, I think, that I'm not in touch with people one way or the other.
That's neat. I love the community of some music, but maybe it's the roadie community. I love it. It
is really more the roadie community, because I mean, I'm not really friends with any artists. I still speak to a lot of them here and there, but it's not like we got to dinner or Christmas cards or anything like that. It's through Facebook or the occasional, like, see somebody at a show and you catch up for a minute and they tell you, oh shit, I paid you, I overpaid you for years, whatever.
So I got a question I try to ask everybody. I was going to do a podcast to start to put one together, and my friend's daughter, who's in 5th grade, said, you need to ask everyone when they first felt famous. So the idea is, remember, we're talking about a 5th grader. So to make it a broader question, when did you first feel good about yourself? You thought you had something good going on. Maybe you did feel famous. Maybe you felt like a celebrity. But what was an event that you remember in your career, or I guess it could be outside your career, that you looked at and thought, wow, this is cool. This is me. Something happened that you thought was neat.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever felt famous, because I've never personally really been recognized. I would say working for Disturbed for me was the first time I felt like, oh, I'm working for somebody now. Like I might have a shot at a career, like a legitimate career. I'd worked for 2-3 artists before that, but none of them had any real success. All nice guys, and I'm grateful for my time with 2 out of the 3 of them. But,
that's good numbers. That's good odds.
That'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
That will get you there.
But yeah, I think when I worked for Disturbed was the first time I felt, like this is like something, so to speak.
Cool.
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably going to a conference and people knowing who I was, but just that feeling of of mutual respect that you get when you walk into a building and people know you, and you've already have, even if you haven't met them, you have a reputation that is good, and people are welcoming you into the building and know who you are and know your reputation. You're going to have a good day because you've spent 30 years developing that reputation.
Yeah.
I actually, along those lines too, Jim, I'm still amazed sometimes when I talk to people who I consider famous in our business, like a Jake or an Opie or whoever, where I'm like, and they'll remember my name, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. Not starstruck might be a little over the top, but kind of that vibe of. Yeah,
there's that picture of me. I don't know if you see, we're all on it. It was a posed picture, but I was with me, Marty Hom, Springo, Stuart Ross, Charlie Hernandez, Jake, Barry, all Brown from Brown Unlimited, Dave Brown, and we're all around the table, like putting our phones, and I'm like, what am I doing at this table? Springo, you're one of us now. Sit down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those moments for me are almost better than any artist I could work for.
No, for sure. It's being recognized by your peers, I think, is way better than,
Yeah, exactly.
Getting $100 bonus at the end of a tour,
Absolutely.
Well, in my humble opinion, it's well deserved. I think you guys are good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would hope Chad's better after all these years than he was in Disturbed. I don't know.
I got fired at the end of that tour, so.
Did you? Sorry, I didn't know. How could they fire you? You took it so seriously, I remember.
Technically, I wasn't fired. They wanted to give somebody, I was a front of house guy, and I was doing monitors on that, and I will freely admit I suck as a monitor guy.
Yeah.
I made it through that tour thanks to Frank Scambolone. Frank saved my ass on more than one occasion on that tour. The tour manager pulled me aside at the end of the tour and was like, we're gonna bring in a regular monitor guy, on the next run and see how that goes. I'm like, I get it, I guess.
Yeah. Loke Sarah. I guess it was a good thing because now you know your shtick.
Yeah, I know not to go to that end of the snake. I'll get fired again.
Stay off the stage.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. I don't know, unless you guys have any other funny stories or anything you want to suggest.
I mean, most of my funny stories I can't tell without dropping names, and that'll get me in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, your daughter will be mad, and she's watching everything.
I don't think she'd get mad, but
giving you a hard time. What's your day job now?
So I was back, when the world collapsed, I decided that I wasn't going to just sit and cry about it. I went out and got a job as a project manager for an electric HVAC company.
Cool.
And been doing that since last July. And it's been my boss, super rad guy, super nice. I talked to him about, the world's starting back up and everything. And he's like, okay,
how lucky.
I'll still keep working with him, even from the road, because I can do a fair bit of what I do for him already.
Awesome.
So I'll kind of half-ass double dip. I won't be able to do everything he needs, but hopefully I can do enough to, take the pressure off. His company's kind of exploded this year, and he can't really afford to lose help, so to speak. So,
well, diversifying is always intelligent.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
What are you up to, Jim? Are you going out soon or?
Yeah, I've been doing the EDM thing. So I have 2 EDM festivals under my belt, and then come September through December, I'm pretty much booked solid. So
great. That'd be good. Yeah, I kind of did a lot of these because I was thinking as people start to get busy again, I won't be able to get them. So
we all have days off.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I'll just do 2 guys on the same tour. So they both have the same day. They had the same day off, but I don't know. I just wanted to get into it, but it was good. You like me bringing up Paul and Norm, huh? I saw your face on that. You're like, what the fuck? In the beginning, what I wanted to do was surprise people with guests. But what I found is people were like, I don't know, who are you surprising me with? And they were nervous that it was going to be somebody they didn't like or they had issues with, and I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't as good. When I tell people who the guests are, they'll sometimes research each other. But the reason why 2 guests is good is I don't have to do shit. I introduce them. They start talking. Sometimes we're like, oh, you know Bob? Yeah, dude, I know Bob. I'll tell you a good story about Bob. And then you just sit there and an hour's gone.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's kind of working out. I don't know. I think some of them have been entertaining. So anyway.
It makes it self-winding.
Yeah, I enjoy the stories of those, like the ones I was talking with the guy in the cafeteria, with his mom. I was like, that is an awesome story. And you are a great person. Cause that's for a guy to come up with that as the best day of your life, that's a good person in and out. Yeah. Really nice to hear. And then can you imagine talking to Nelson Mandela for 15 minutes, day after day after day? Yeah. What a fantastic, he's like, well, I mean, at that point we had talked about everything. It was, he was tough. But he was so beautiful inside. It was just so interesting to hear. Oh, by the way, I did some with the Dalai Lama too. Oh, come on, dude. My God.
Insane.
Yeah. I should have asked him what made Nelson Mandela more interesting to bring up first than the Dalai Lama.
You knew him better.
I think it was because he did more of those shows with him. Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you go. I don't steal all your night.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Jim, good to see you. Good to see you, Joel.
Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching Party Like a Rockstar. If you're not already subscribed to the Facebook or YouTube channels, do it. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The handle is Party of Stars. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.